Hey everybody, my name is Simply Asia and I'm the founding editor of Rare Radar, and you're watching another episode of Celebrating Her. And today we have the honor of chatting and celebrating Jance Chartae, who is the CEO of Brazen Boutique and Boutique Academy, where she teaches entrepreneurs, boutique owners how to get the bag. So today we'll be chatting with her about all things entrepreneurship, coaching, and betting on yourself. So without further ado, let's get into the interview.
Like she mentioned, I am the CEO of Brazen Boutique and the Boutique Academy. I started Brazen in November of 2018. Then I started the Boutique Academy about 6 months later, around June or July of 2019. So half of my time is spent selling clothes. The other half is spent coaching other people on how to either start their own e-commerce business or how to grow their e-commerce business. So I'm either selling clothes or I'm teaching. That's pretty much my whole life these days.
Yeah, and so I thought let's just like get into behind your story and how you even got started. So I was reading on you and like doing my research, and I did see that you started actually in the retail business. So I guess tell us about that story and how you ended up even being your own boss.
Yeah, so I worked in retail pretty much my whole like working life. From the moment I was like 17. My first job ever was at Forever 21. And I really enjoyed it. It was a job then, but I wasn't thinking about it like a career. It was a job, but I just so happened to be really good at it. I was really good at like the visual merchandising and just like customer service and things like that. So I kind of just stuck with retail even throughout college as I was getting a degree. I never really thought that retail or, selling things would be a part of my future. So I worked literally everywhere. I tell everybody I've sold like everything under the sun: clothes, shoes, accessories, toys, house goods, like everything. And then so my last job actually went out of business. Actually, my last two jobs went out of business. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to apply for a job again. Like, I'm so tired of like looking for a job, interviewing for jobs. And I don't know, I just felt like I had all this information inside of me and I never really thought to apply it or try to apply it for myself. So I started my own business and it's been working out.
Yes, it's been amazing. I've been watching the journey. But
Yeah.
something I wanted to ask you was the fact that were you always like super fashionable, or like did you always have a passion for fashion, or like what even like why boutique? People lose their jobs, but
Yeah.
like why boutique?
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah, yes and no. So I've always been into fashion. Like I enjoy shopping. I used to like collect fashion magazines and stuff when I was younger. Like my mom literally had to force me to throw all of my old magazines away because I was hoarding them. So when my job closed, the last job that I had, it was a thrift store, but they also sold like boutique type clothes. They like bought wholesale. So that last job really introduced me to the world of wholesale buying and really like what it would be like to have a business of my own. But the funny part about it is I had started a YouTube channel where I used to just share like all of the things that I learned while working in retail. And it just so happens that all of my followers pretty much were boutique owners or they were trying to start a boutique. So it was really ironic to me because I was like, I don't have a boutique. I don't have a business. I just know stuff. And they would listen to me. Like they would ask me questions all day, every day. So when my job said they were closing, I was like, well, maybe I should start a boutique because I talk to boutique owners all day. So it never really was in my plans. I just enjoyed shopping. I enjoyed clothes and, I decided to give it a try.
Yes, nice. And so like were you already saving? Like how did that look like for someone who lost their job abruptly
hmm
and you turn around and invest in yourself? Like what did that look like?
Yeah, no, I was not saving at all. So my job, they told me that they were going to close the store in like April of 2018. So I actually had like, let's say like 6 months or so to really figure out what I was going to do moving forward. So they gave me the option to either stay and like help them sell as much of the stuff that they had left over. And then they offered to pay me for an extra month after the store closed. So I want to say, so that was April. I think I registered for my business license in July of that year. So I really spent like a few months just trying to figure out like, what am I going to do? I was filling out job applications, but I wasn't really like passionate or excited about any of the places that I was applying for jobs at. So when I decided that I was going to start the business, I started putting just a little bit of my check aside for the business. I didn't really have any idea of how much it was going to cost me truly. I didn't know like, how much the merchandise would cost and the website platform and shipping. Like I had none of that stuff figured out whatsoever, but I knew I needed money. So I started like intentionally putting aside as much as I could so that I could fund the business moving forward.
That's amazing. And so I know like with the pandemic, there has been a surge of entrepreneurs. And I think that's like what I thought was super dope about your story and what you do as far as like helping other entrepreneurs. Is like, I know probably like clientele during the pandemic for you personally skyrocketed as far as coaching. Yeah. But for those who wanted to even know, like, do I need a coach? Where do I start? Like, if your advice, like, what do you tell people? Here's when you need a coach and how to go about it as far as coaching, like what type of coach?
Yeah. So I feel like the internet makes it really hard and really easy at the same time to find a coach. Like everybody's a coach these days. They either sell something or they're teaching something. And there's a lot of people who are really good at what they do, but they don't position themselves well, or it's kind of confusing like what they actually do or how they can actually help you. So I always tell people, I think it's really important for you to not necessarily look for like a business coach, but instead look for someone who can help you with something in particular. So whether that be like marketing or content creation or customers, like something in particular, because I think the hard part about finding a coach is when you are just simply looking for a business coach. Everybody's a business coach. Everybody thinks they can help you with everything under the sun, and they really can't. So if you could be honest with yourself about what you actually lack or what you need to learn, then literally like it could be as simple as a hashtag search or searching that term or that word on YouTube or something like that, and just taking people's content in, like the free stuff that they put out. I always say, like, if they're not putting anything free out for you to learn from, it's going to be really hard. Me personally, it's really hard for me to trust that you can teach me anything when I pay you. So look for free content and look for somebody that can teach you something specifically.
Yeah. And I have a background as a publicist, and that's like how I think that's how I came across you, because I just like to follow people who do webinars and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember like one year I just was watching literally a webinar a week. Like I want to just learn new skills. And so I recently had a client who has a boutique, and I was telling her about you. And I'm like, and we was like watching one of your lives, and you was with someone, and the thing that you guys were talking about, the importance of being intentional on when you buy into a coach. Especially me as a publicist, people come to me and ask me for requests. I'm like, that's not really PR. That's an assistant or, things like that. And so I know you have a PR background as well. So tell us a little bit about that, and how do you feel like your background in PR has helped you leverage your company and just as a coach as well?
Yeah, so my degree is in speech communication, specializing in public relations. So I thought that I was going to be a publicist. That was what I thought my life would consist of. So it did not pan out that way. While I was in college, I was in like, all the student organizations. I worked in like the PR office for my school and stuff like that. So, and then one of my cousins who has a business, he let me do like all of his PR and stuff like that for a short period of time. So that was really like my only real experience in PR. But when I started my business, initially I was like, oh, well, I felt like my degree was kind of getting thrown out of the window, but it really wasn't. Like a lot of the things that I learned in school and and the little bit of experience that I did have really played a huge role in me like working the business, even down to like crafting a message that makes sense and that would like convince someone that this business is reputable, or like me as a person being able to tell them like, this is what I do, this is why you should care, this is what I intend to do for the world or the industry or whatever. So I feel like my PR degree or my PR background really helped me to understand the value of building relationships with people, and like how the use of words could play a role in like how somebody felt about my business, or how somebody felt about potentially supporting me or supporting my business. Like I real life thought I was never going to use PR ever again. I was like, oh, I'm out here doing things.
Yes, you are. And so my next question was going to be like, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned while in entrepreneurship? Like if looking back, like what would you tell your younger self before getting started?
That's a good question. I would tell my younger self, honestly, to just keep going. Like, I feel like sometimes people allow themselves to just stop in their tracks because of what they don't know, or like what they think they don't know or think that they're supposed to know by now. So I would tell myself to keep going, and also not to compare myself to anybody else or to anybody else's journey, because I've learned that in business, and especially in e-commerce, like it could be as simple as you creating like one really great piece of content, and the next thing you know, you got a big audience of people, you got your exact target audience, your whole business turns around. So sometimes I think when we first start, it's natural to compare yourself and what you're doing to somebody else. So I would tell myself, like, don't compare. You're on your own journey. Keep going, keep looking forward, do what you want to do. Don't feel like you got to do what anybody else is doing, because it's yours at the end of the day.
Exactly. And so like when I look back on it, I feel like you were like kind of one of the first boutiques that I've saw that was like the face of their brand.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you have expanded, you're getting models, the brand and the quality is,
Mm-hmm.
every time. Like how was that process? Were you always like, did you always want to be in front of the camera?
Mm-hmm.
And like, what was that process like? Or did you just do that strategically because of budgeting?
Yeah. No, I did not want to be the face. I don't think so. I feel like because it was never really in my desires or plans to even have a business, let alone a boutique, I don't think I really have put much thought into like being the face versus not being the face. And back then, I think I just felt like it was easier for me to just be the face. It was
Yeah.
easier for me to do it than to have to try to find somebody or, pay somebody or things like that. So when you first start, it's like, okay, where can I save money? Well, I can save money by being the face. So I never really, before I started my boutique, I never was like the girl who loved taking pictures, or I was really good at creating content. I learned that like working in my previous job, because I used to run their social media account. So I didn't even know I knew like how to create content or that I was creative. So I started doing it myself. I used to create all my content myself. I was literally wearing like every single hat. And then eventually I was like, okay, the longer that you are trying to operate in every single role in your business, the more time you're taking away from the things that actually matter and the things that actually drive revenue for you. So eventually I was like, okay, you need to get somebody else in here. And for most of the time, or from the beginning, she and I modeled together, but I knew that eventually I wanted to step out and like replace myself. So that has been such a blessing, because I don't even like standing on my feet and all that. I'd rather be behind the scenes and like watching it all come to life from behind the camera versus being the person in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, well, the theme for this Celebrating Her also is self-care. So as a boutique owner, a coach, a wife, what does self-care look like for you? Like, what do you do to celebrate yourself?
Yeah. So if I'm forced to stay here in St. Louis, I'm going to go like book me a nice hotel. I'm going to get a massage. Like I'm literally going to go lay in a bed and do nothing. And if I'm not forced to be here, I'm gonna do the same thing in another city. So I really love traveling. I do not mind, booking a trip today and being gone tomorrow, and literally just laying in the most comfortable hotel bed and being there for like 5 days. I enjoy good scenery, nice beach, some palm trees, some water, some sand, and a nice bed.
Amazing. And so we're going to wrap it up. I know you're busy, so I don't want to hold up too much of your time. But so what's next for you, like as far as Jance as the coach and the boutique owner? What can we
Yes.
see from you next?
So this year I am working on expanding into men's and children's clothes. I'm really excited about that. In the last few months, we've been able to expand a lot in plus size. So I'm looking forward to continuing to expand in the plus size area. So just expanding the product assortment for Brazen. And then for coaching, I'm hoping to start doing one-on-one coaching again this year. I haven't done one-on-one coaching in a while because I've been doing a lot of group coaching. So one-on-one, and then more in-person events. So, the pandemic really hindered our ability to have like in-person or face-to-face events. So I'm hoping to do a few in-person meetings and seminars and things like that.
Nice. And so if anybody wants to follow you or check in to see like where they can actually tap into those seminars and stuff like that, where can they follow you?
Yeah, so I got 80 billion pages. You can follow me on Instagram at Jance Chartae or at the Boutique Academy. On either one of those pages, you'll get an inside glimpse of what's going on as far as classes, webinars, if I'm going live or anything like that, any new YouTube videos. I pretty much keep it updated on both of those platforms.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it.